Welcome to the Mandcave. It's the only podcast hosted by two best friends with nothing in common except their first names. I'm Mandy Fabian.
And I'm Mandy Kaplan. And each week we test the limits of our friendship by debating and discussing music and books and podcasts and genital fat. Yeah. Grab a couch. Let's get to it.
Cut this shit.
It's not really genital. I mean, it's upper genital. Anyway,
well.
We don't have to revisit it. I'm sure everybody every week that's going to be a separate podcast that we're doing that focuses only on fupa updates. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I feel like you were going to say something where it was like, oh, well, let's start the podcast to say it. Now I don't even remember what it was. But this is all part of aging. We basically, since we logged in, it's been Mandy and I.
We can't remember finished sentences, and we are barely recognizing each other, but smiling in that way of like, you look familiar. Mm-hmm. I want to share with you something that happened to me this morning when I got into my booth.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Is that Ghostface?
Is that Ghostface? It's a version of a skull.
It's
like a Halloween. Yeah, it's a Halloween character that we have in our house that my children set up in my booth to scare the pants off me when I opened the door.
I saw a GIF on Instagram. These are words I'm just learning. And wow, it was like, this is the best bird feeder ever. So somebody clearly put, or a squirrel feeder. So somebody put nuts or whatever squirrels eat into a thing and then draped Ghostface over it. So when the squirrel shimmies up and moves around, Ghostface is in the window. It's like Ghostface in your kitchen window. It was really funny. People are so clever. I do love Instagram for that reason.
Yeah. I'm starting to rethink our whole, being pro writers and actors when just Instagram and TikTok are so wonderful. Like maybe we should just
TV.
Let's call it
movies. Yeah.
Right? Let's just surrender. It's great. I also saw something that made me laugh so hard. And I'm hardly ever on the social media. So somehow I ran across, I guess it's a reel. Somebody posted a woman who was trying to do the bodyboarding thing. Like, those amusement parks where they have really fast water going up. Yes. So you can take a board and just jump and then you they have it at Great Wolf Lodge,
they sure
right?
do, yes.
Yeah, really fun. This woman, it goes south in a way that is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So I'm going to post two things on Discord. I'm going to post that link, video, because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen, if I can find it again. And I'm also going to post that picture of what my kids did to me in the booth this morning. I think people appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. That's priceless. I love it.
I've been reading a new book that I'm very, very excited about.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Have you read Lessons in Chemistry?
No, but it's the next on my list. Everybody's talking about it. Yeah.
It's super delightful. Yes. I'm enjoying it. I'm like halfway through, and it's just one of those books that, you leave and you're like, oh, I got to get back to that, Yeah.
No, it's been on my lists forever. I, in fact, accidentally double bought it on audio and Kindle.
Yeah.
So once I start, I can really be surrounded by it.
So you don't rent your books from the library. You through Libby. You don't Kindle your books through Libby.
No.
Oh, is it because you believe in paying the authors and stuff like that?
It's more laziness because I got Overdrive when that came out, and it hassled me every time, and I would lose progress in books, or a book would be. You had to wait so long, or it would be like, we don't recognize you. And I'm like, but I was just reading, or I was just listening, and now you don't recognize me. It was such a pain in the ass that I've been turned off ever since. And Audible works smoothly. You just
I get it.
Go in and you get a book.
And it's the one area I think we could agree that you're a better person than I am. You know what I mean?
Well, I do support people.
Yeah. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm just saying the library's there. No, I'm kidding.
I love the library, and I'm a big proponent, but I just, especially with a book that you log in and they're like, you're 685th in line. I'm not gonna wait.
No, then I go and I get the book, they've earned it,
Yeah.
How about you? Did you do anything fun this week?
Yeah.
It was a good week. I don't know if it was like a cosmic thing, but like people seem to be enjoying themselves. Seems to be all right. Like middle school went without a hitch for Delilah. That was kind of amazing.
Great. Oh, great. Yeah, Casey had a good week at school.
But now I have a question for you.
Okay.
She's got to change in front of other kids because they have PE together.
Mm-hmm.
Did Casey have a thing with that? Was he like, I don't want to do this?
He's never even mentioned it, so I don't know if he does it. I know they change for PE, but I don't know if it's public.
Maybe it's a girl thing. It's so funny. Of course, Abby, she was like marching through the halls, be like, look, I'm getting tits, everybody.
Right.
But, it wasn't that extreme, obviously. It was more about her pubic hair than it was her tits. But Delilah's really nervous about it.
Oh, yeah. At Delilah's age, I mastered like holding a towel over me, or I would pretend I had to pee and go change in the stall. I probably am still that way.
I would say you are.
Yes. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could teach her the towel technique when we get together.
Well, but she won't have a towel in PE. That's the issue. But she can do the old, like, you slip on your PE shirt and you wiggle out of your other shirt.
Yeah.
And then you pull the PE shirt down and wiggle out of your pants and pull them up. So it's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got skills.
Yeah. You know those techniques. I don't know any of those techniques. I would just put like a sack over my head so I didn't have to see anyone and then just let it fly.
I have considered Mormonism so that I could wear the Jesus underwear. What do you call it? Like
the special. Is it special underwear?
I forget what
Sacred
it's called.
underwear.
But you can't take off. You have to wear your long johns. And I enjoy that idea.
Sure, I get it.
I'm going to look into that Mormonism.
We have been so into the FLDS thing. How on earth did we forget the name of that underwear? I don't know. Oh my God, It's happening.
I'm Googling Mormon underwear. That's what's happening right now.
Have our research department. Is Audrey off work today because of the hurricane? Someone's going to write that movie. Someone's already written that movie. Have you? Did you finish the first draft this morning?
Wait, hurricane, you mean?
Yeah, hurricane.
This is calling it temple garment. That's not right.
No, they must have changed it because they got too much shit.
All right.
Because people were like, it's wacky underwear. It's holy underwear. Get it? Holy.
Yeah. Yours is. We know that from episodes past.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, one last thing before we jump in. Then you want to jump into the...
Yeah.
It went by with nary even an acknowledgement that we had our 100th episode.
We did?
Yes. Our strike is our 100th episode.
How did you find that out?
It says right there on the thing. It's like 100 episodes. We had our 100th episode and we didn't even say anything about it. So good for us.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Or whatever you would call it. Usually we would have a big cake.
Yeah.
And the crew would be around and we would, maybe do a flash mob. We'll work something out.
They had that for all your other podcasts. I don't know why this one went to, Okay, great.
That's exciting.
I'm going to have a coffee truck come to your house. Like, that's what fancy people do, right? Yes. When they're on sets, they buy a coffee truck for everybody.
Just for me. Just one iced coffee and then it drives away. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
But you're worth it. And it's a goddamn 100 episodes. And I'm very proud of us. And it's been a joy. And here's to the next 100.
Well, episode number 57 had some issues. But other than that, we've really...
We don't talk about 57. How
crushing it. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. Hey, so speaking of 100.
Yeah.
And you're so mad at me, but I'm going to tell you right away because I think our listeners will enjoy this. We listened to Julia Louis Dreyfus podcast, Wiser Than Me. And I listened to Jane Fonda, Isabel Allende, and Carol Burnett. I don't know which ones you listen to, but I will say I've been listening to it kind of nonstop and telling everybody I know to listen to it because I'm recommending it far and wide because I love it so much because I find it so surprising and interesting. And I love hearing these women talk so frankly about like what's working for them and how like their lives and what they think about, decisions that they've made. And they're fucking badass. They're just badasses. And I think because so many people have a fear or a judgment about aging. And these are ladies that are like well into their 80s and 90s and they're fully owning it. And I think that's such a refreshing point of view because it's not a point of view you get a lot. So the whole idea of the podcast, I think, is just really cool.
I agree. I think it's a phenomenal idea and couldn't be hosted by a more charming, intelligent, worthy person than Julia Louis Dreyfus. I'm madly in love with her. Always have been since her days on Saturday Night Live. I can still picture her singing Linda Ronstadt with her big doughy eyes. She is one of my all-time favorite idols. I love her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that the premise of the podcast is beautiful. And I think she's getting really interesting, smart, gifted women. And I never want to listen to another minute of it ever again.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
There are two reasons. The first is everybody knows I do have issues with facing end of life and death and dying and aging. Those are topics that give me a lot of anxiety. And I don't want this to turn into an actual therapy session, or I don't want to get too deep about it.
Yeah.
But I was listening and I was thinking, oh God, how am I going to talk about these things? And then Mandy's going to say, now, why do you fear that? And I'm going to have to take a Xanax and scream. So I really don't want to delve because those are my issues.
Yeah.
So a lot of phrases like, now you're in the final act of your life. And now that you're doing a life review, and those things give me a lot of panic.
Right.
So that's the number one reason I don't want to listen to it again.
Right.
Then when it gets...
Well, the first part of it is this really delightful thing. And then those I wondered if maybe those questions would, because they kind of come, they're not in every single one, but they do come up. But that's not the main thing that the podcast is about. It's actually like, it's these lovely stories and interesting perspectives, and you learn all this stuff, and then that stuff happens. So if you're, for somebody like you'd be like, but I don't know when it's coming, so I don't want to listen to it.
And it can weave in and out of, so I listened to Jane Fonda and Carol Burnett. Now, those are two women I happen to know a ton about. So I did not learn a lot about either one of them. And on a lighter note of why I wouldn't listen to it again, I found it to be a bit like eavesdropping on a conversation that I would tiptoe away from and be like, I've heard some of that before. I've heard all this. I don't find it as deep and introspective as a lot of people are finding it. And I only listened to two. And Jane Fonda was very open.
Yes.
It was just a lot about like, just make sure you keep your muscles toned, ladies. It was a lot of stuff like that. It didn't make me go, oh, I've never thought about things that way. It was a bit surfacey for what the topics were.
What about when she said that she regretted having plastic surgery? I've never heard that before.
Yeah. I mean, she said it and then they moved on. Julia Louis Dreyfus was like, really? Oh, and she's like, yeah, I wouldn't, if I could go back, I wouldn't have plastic surgery. Anywho. So that would have been a more interesting, I could do a half hour on that and hear about what made you get it. What surgeries did you have? What was your thinking at the time? And how has that shifted now? I could have gone deeper, but they didn't. It was just, I wouldn't have had plastic surgery on my face.
Yeah.
Oopsies. So
I wonder,
that interests me more than, and Jane Fonda has been open about having eating disorders and being extremely unhealthy for so much of her life. So it's a bit strange to hear her talking about how to take really good care of yourself when she hasn't always done that. So.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know any. I didn't know any of that stuff. I haven't seen a lot of interviews with her. So, but I don't really seek those out either. So for me, this was like, I know her from like on Golden Pond, and then I feel like she's done a couple other things, right?
Are you being facetious?
I am being facetious,
Okay.
but I'm being like halfway facetious. I've obviously seen her in a bunch of stuff, but that was the iconic first time I think I ever recognized her, like noticed her as an actress. Like I was like, oh my God, that was the first time I remember seeing her as an actress. And I think the first time, well, obviously Carol Burnett was the Carol Burnett show. But then when I saw her in The Four Seasons, did you ever see that movie? Oh my God. She and Alan Alda were like my dream couple. Like that was when I grow up, I want to be like them. They were funny and they were like the right amount of good looking. And Carol Burnett looks oddly like my mother did when she was in her 40s.
Doesn't. And that's what I couldn't stop thinking about your mom during the Carol Burnett episode. And
they're similar, right?
We have talked about this before, and perhaps even on the podcast. But yes, your mom had Carol Burnett energy through and through, vocally, physically, everything. But yet, when you picture them side by side, they don't look alike. But there was something about your mom that was very, very Carol Burnett-esque. And I say that with complete admiration and love for both of those ladies. That's
interesting. I'm going to have to do a side-by-side photo. And well, actually, the truth is I don't have the technical skills to do that. If I did, I would do that. And then I would put it up in the Discord to see if people think they look alike. Because when I was a kid, it was like shocking to me. It was like really whoa, she looks just like Carol Burnett when she was younger.
Yes, I didn't know your mom, in her 40s.
Yeah.
But I always, from the moment I met her, was like, she reminds me of Carol Burnett. She's so Carol Burnett. Yet didn't look like Carol Burnett. So it was a hard...
She's the example of the sad, empty life you have when you have Carol Burnett energy, but you don't get to be Carol Burnett. I mean, so we can, if you don't want to talk about aging, we can just talk about rejection and not getting to fulfill your life dreams. We could talk about that instead if you want.
Great.
No, she never wanted to be a comedian. She only ever wanted to be a mom. And she did it. Look at that.
And she crushed it.
I said only ever. I don't mean that like, bleh, bleh. She never wanted to do anything cool or interesting. Joking.
Well, I mean, Jane Fonda did say that she knows she was a terrible mom.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But they didn't delve. It was, I don't know. I guess maybe my preference would be I'm going to meet these women and ask them 3 deep questions. And we're going to delve into each question.
Yeah.
About regret or whatever it is, rather than a chit-chatty conversation where I hear a lot of stuff I've heard before, particularly with Carol Burnett. I mean, I've read Carol Burnett's books. I know Carol Burnett, so I hear nothing new. And and then to throw in at the end, like, so how are you 90? And you do crosswords? Great. That didn't feel like anything.
Right.
More than just a fun, frothy interview.
Well, that's probably, I think also based on, I don't know if you totally fast forwarded or ever were busy cooking something and had to listen to the commercials. But it was pretty clear to me that she doesn't do a lot of voiceover. She doesn't, she doesn't do a lot of, not a lot of commercials, or she's never listened to a lot of podcasts where you hear the way commercials are done generally. They were very like, I am reading, and they sounded to me like a non-actor reading commercials.
Funny. Well, Julia, not everybody can do voiceover for a living, like the Mandys. I mean, we've got talent.
I don't want to brag, but I think also she's obviously moves in a circle where she can have a conversation with Jane Fonda or Carol Burnett or any of these amazing women and hold her own because she's Julia Louis Dreyfus. And I feel like she was being very sort of, because she's not a psychiatrist or whatever, I feel like there was a certain propriety. There was like she wouldn't want to put Jane Fonda or Carol Burnett on the spot, but she also didn't push the boundaries of what she could maybe get them to talk about because they were being very open, but she didn't really push. And I agree with you. Like, I think she was keeping it very light and chatty because that's just There's just kind of two actors, and she would sort of throw out questions and go, oh, and then she had a list of other questions. Like there were interesting things like, would you go back and tell your 21-year-old self anything? Do you have any advice for earlier times? I loved Carol Burnett's answer to that.
She said no, right? Was that her answer?
She said, if I went back and gave my 21-year-old self advice, then I wouldn't be where I am today. And I love where I am today. And I wouldn't change a thing. And I thought, oh my God, what a beautiful perspective.
Absolutely. It's just, I don't know that, me, I don't, I don't want to think about shit like that.
Oh, that's too bad because the game I have is your 5, 10, and 20-year plan. No, we're not going to.
Oh, great. I want to plan dinner and I want to.
You do.
Choreograph things. And, I really, we've talked about it before. I am not that deep. And
yes, and that's okay. That's all right.
What was Isabel Allande's interview like? Was it different or tonally or?
So interesting. I don't know that it was that different because I think Julia Louis Dreyfus just interviews the way she does. And I, again, had not, I think it, probably you enjoy this a lot more if you don't know everything about these women. Because and also for me, like the Beatles, right? You're like, I get it, the Beatles, but I like to spend time with these people who are icons. And so to just hear their voice, to hear them in live conversation.
Right.
I haven't seen a lot of interviews. I know of Carol Burnett's personality. I'm very familiar with her work. I've read her books. But to hear her talking and responding and like two of my favorite people chatting was just, that to me was just like, oh, I love spending time with them. Like,
sure.
And I was also learning things like, that I didn't already know. So that would be a bummer if it was all just sort of repeat. Yeah. I feel that way sometimes. This is going to sound really dumb, but, filmmaking podcasts or writing podcasts or things like that. Like, I like to listen to them, but some of them are just like, I can't. Protagonist and conflict, blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
Right.
There's only a few that I enjoy because of the personalities.
Sure. But and I love Carol Burnett's personality, but I had just heard her on Randy Rainbow's podcast a few months ago.
Oh, was that good?
It's similar. She's wonderful and lovely and full of light and humor and kindness. But yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it all before. So
yeah, you got shit to do. I get it. I get it.
And I'm gearing up to draft for fantasy football, so I can't be wasting my precious podcast time on these old broads.
So you listen to fantasy football? There's podcasts for that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
A lot.
Okay. Do you make money doing that?
No, because I never win. But yeah, if you win the season, you get a little prize. You get a couple $100 or something.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm doing 3 leagues instead of 2 this year. So I'm pretty excited. Pretty committed.
Ooh, stepping it up. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Does that take a lot of your time? Like, is that you're staring at your phone and you're like, Casey, not now?
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you drink beer and scratch your belly when you?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. I am every stereotype. I'm Ralph Cramden when it's football season. Just stay out of my way.
Come on, Jeremy.
Yep.
See, I got the reference. That's not bad.
You did. I feel like that's rare for us.
Oh, yeah. Isabel Allende talked a lot about, she's just, she didn't even start writing until she was 40.
Okay.
Or maybe it was even 50. No, I think she started writing at 40, but published her first. She became a journalist when she was 40, became a novelist when she was 50, and just wrote about her family. And she's so matter of fact and very, but like, she talks about her lovers and she takes lovers and she talks about I think it's her third husband. Her third husband, who she was not going to marry because she has done it. You know what I mean? Might have been her second husband. Anyway, not her first. She talks very plainly about her first husband giving her children and a very nice man, but, it just wasn't going to work. And then she talks about, taking a lover and leaving her children when she was I forget her husband went somewhere or I don't know, but she left. She went for a while. She like went and had a full on affair with somebody else. So her kids are still a little mad about that. She does regret that. That was her one regret.
Yeah.
But I love that she just owned it. And she was so like wild and passionate. And, she was fighting for everything because she's Cuban and her culture, like her mother didn't have opportunities. And so she was this extreme feminist, as she talks about like, having to say the word feminist back then when like, these days, you could just be assumed that, if you're a woman, you're probably a feminist, But then it was like you had to make a statement.
Right.
So I'm just basically regaling you with stuff that would have equally bored you on the podcast, but I think is very interesting because I love also hearing older women talk about sex. That's not something you ever hear. And I think that's very important to hear, that your sexual life can continue, like that it is a thing.
If you read scripts I wrote, then you would hear women in their 60s and 70s talking about sex and just.
Well, that's the other thing too.
Something I'm passionate about.
You're so passionate about writing older women. I thought that was a topic that you would be like, oh, fuck yeah, because they're, but you write about them horn dogging and blowing up casinos. So yeah, different, a little different than what these women have actually done.
Yes.
But maybe she'll have maybe there's like a Bonnie and Clyde type gal that we don't know that's out there. Maybe she'll interview an older lady from prison. That would be interesting. You listen to that one.
I think I would. I checked out the list and I was like, oh, Fran Lebowitz and Isabella Allende. These are people I am vaguely familiar with. Don't really know them. Didn't get me excited. So I listened to the two that I thought, oh, I want to hear what they have to say. Yeah. If she does another season and I saw a name that made me really light up, Dolly Parton, I would listen to. There are names that I would say, oh, no, wait, I do want to hear that. I want to hear anything they have to say. But, I guess that's how I would sum it up. Yeah. But
one of the things,
and if I didn't have my anxiety issues, I think it would be more enjoyable for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. One of the things I enjoyed that Jane Fonda said, we can end with this because this was my favorite thing, was, she was like, how is it being 80? And she was like, it's nothing like I feared when I was in my 40s, right? Like it's not a thing. It's nothing. None of the fears you have, like you just slip in and then you just are, and you don't even think about it. You're not like, oh my God, I'm 80. You're like, oh, this is my age. And it feels perfectly normal, like slipping into a warm bath. And she's like, it's pretty great. And I thought that was a very cool perspective.
Good.
We'll give it man jobs. I mean, you're going to give it a tight, bald fist of probably. No, I'm kidding. For what it is, you'll give it some man jobs.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said, if you're a person who's like, I've never heard an interview with Jane Fonda, I think you would love it. But I'm oversaturated with Jane Fonda and Carol Burnett in particular. But I would say 3. But with the caveat that if you don't have these bizarre issues where you can't think about the end of your life, go for it. Learn from these women and learn about the end of their lives as they're looking back. But for me, it was just too triggering.
Gotcha.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I would give it like 4.5. I'm always happy when older ladies have a stage and they get to talk about it all without that kind of like, they don't have to pretend that they're younger and they don't have to pretend, they don't have to, it was like such a safe space for them to just be authentic and say their age and talk about their lives. And I think that's pretty unusual,
Absolutely.
And I'm excited for more platforms like that. I think that's really cool.
Well, this actually transitions into something I am very, very excited about and will be required viewing for the podcast when it airs at some point. But do you know that the next season of The Bachelor is called The Golden Bachelor, and it's a 71-year-old widower?
Oh, how fun! Oh, that's going to be a blast.
Watch with me, and I'm really excited. They showed his package. Oh, I shouldn't say they showed his package. But they did when they filmed his package. That's the industry term for when they're like, here's the history of this guy, and they show him in his hometown and with his family, right? Mm-hmm. They do it in sports. They show the package of how Simone Biles got to where she is.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So the package, I was sobbing. He's the most charming, kind, goofy guy, and the house will be filled with women who are age appropriate for him. And I think it looks so. I'm very, very, very excited, and I hope it just smashes every television record to prove to the world that we all do want to see older people living their lives and having drama and having humor and heart. And I can't wait. Okay. Sorry. It's Golden Bachelor. I can't wait. I don't know when it's going to start to air, but I'll be all over it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, that sounds fun.
But we're supposed to do the business, and I jumped right in with the Golden Bachelor.
No, that's okay. All right. Well, we'll get that out of the way because I have an amazing game for you. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, not out of the way because we want to give these guys their due. So for all 100 of our episodes, actually now 101, The Mandcave is a production of True Story FM, music by Ian Post, and engineered by Pete Wright. And if you guys want to spread the word and give us a review, you can go check us out anywhere you get your podcasts and go to the iTunes, the podcast app, the Apple Podcast. Apple Podcast.
That's the only place you can physically write a review. And we need those.
Yeah. So, and give us 5 stars. We love those.
Please, please. It helps us grow. And other ways to support us are to become a Fandy. $5 a month at mandcave.com/Fandy gets you a little more access to us and a pre-show that we record for Fandys only. Only Fandys.
Oh, yeah. It's a private showing, you guys.
Yep, every week. So if you're missing out on that bonus content, please join us by joining the Fandys, mandcave.com/Fandy, and then get your merch.
Oh, yeah.
And we have new merch coming. We were just informed that last week's Make Jail Great Again is going to be a thing. And I'm very, very excited. And
very excited.
So mandcave.com/merch. I'm wearing one of my t-shirts, one of our t-shirts where these such point of pride to have a mug or a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or a tote bag, whatever it is, that all helps support the Man Cave and helps us keep doing what we love.
Yes. And come visit with us in Discord also, the Discord app, mancave.com/Discord. It's a chat room where I'm going to post a couple pictures, stuff today, make you laugh, enjoy your day, and chat with us. And we'd love to hear recommendations for things you would like us to listen to or talk about. That's not struck work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I have a game, and I think we've done a few of these, but I don't care because this one made me so happy. We're going to do a old-fashioned, old-timey Madlib. Are you ready?
I'm born ready.
Oh, wait, I can't set it up there like that. I got to write it down. Okay, got to write down your spectacular answers. Ready? Here we go. Welcome to the Mandys Retirement Village. Oh, I'm not supposed to read this to you yet, am I? Whoops.
No.
I just blew that. Let's go back and edit that out so you didn't hear that.
Okay.
You know what? It's all right. This is how it's going to be.
Eternal sunshine. Done.
Yeah. This is going to be like when we're playing Clue in our old age, and I'll be like, I put Mrs. Green in there with the knife. So just don't guess those right away or the game won't last long. Apparently, my old age, I'm from New Jersey? I don't know.
Sure.
All right. Here we go. Forget what I said. Activity.
An activity.
Yes.
Masturbating.
Great. Okay. Then give me a group activity. Masturbating. You can say it.
No, choral singing.
Okay. Great. A holiday.
Easter.
Yeah. Okay. An adjective?
Gangly.
Nice. Food items.
Cashews.
Okay.
In honor of their mention on last week's episode.
I don't remember us promoting cashews. Did we get a cut, like a 5% kickback from that, from promoting cashews?
We're in bed with planters now. I'll explain.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
A meal?
Oh, sushi.
Great. And then a plural noun?
Monsters.
Great. And adjective.
Peaceful.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. Okay. A famous older woman.
I don't know why she's my go-to. Della Reese.
Okay. Della Reese. Activity or hobby?
Pickleball.
Okay. Pickleball. Group activity or hobby?
Protesting.
It's a good one. Not what I was expecting. Another famous older woman.
Cheetah Rivera.
Sure. Cheetah Rivera. Another hobby.
Sticker collecting.
Yeah. You're getting all my sweet spots.
Yeah.
And a self-help topic.
The Secret.
Great. Okay. Then a verb, please.
Twist.
Okay. Another verb. Shout.
Bake.
Okay, great. And then an aspirational verb.
Floating.
Big sourdough. Big sourdough.
Uh-huh.
And float. I love it. Okay. Life mantra. Your life mantra. Your motto. What
fuck them if they can't take a joke.
Great. Number?
833.4.
Okay. 0.4. Great. Verb?
And verb, slither.
And another food. More food. I know you love the food.
God love ya. Gorgonzola.
Yeah. Great. Gorgonzola. Adjective?
Peachy.
Peachy. And another adjective.
Sweltering.
It's actually probably true. Okay.
Do you know that pen or pencil writing on paper is an ASMR trigger? So as you're doing it, I'm like, yeah, keep writing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh, it's good.
Is me clearing my throat? Does that do it too?
No.
No?
No.
All right. You could have had it all. You could have had it all. All right. Ready?
Just like Bogey and Bacall.
This is my dream come true, and I think it will be yours too.
Okay.
Welcome to the Mandys Retirement Village. We are pleased to offer masturbating and choral singing to our residents on Mondays and Easter. Our meal plan is gangly and filled with healthy things like cashews and sushi, and our chef is dedicated to making monsters feel peaceful.
Oh.
We've recently welcomed Della Reese, and you can see her pickleballing during protesting. Cheetah Rivera is a regular visitor, offering classes on sticker collecting and doing The Secret. At Mandyland, no one is alone. Our new dating app offers seniors the chance to twist and bake with their special someone at all hours of the night. Mandy Kaplan, a founding member, started this village as a realization of a lifelong dream to hang out with old people and float. Her life mantra is featured on a plaque in our entryway. Fuck 'em if they can't take a joke. Her podcast partner of 833.4 years is also commonly seen helping residents slither and in the kitchen making her famous gorgonzola. At Mandcave, we believe aging can be more than a way of life. It can be peachy. So join us. We'll be sweltering to see you.
I love it. It sounds like a place I can't wait to be. And there's no one I'd rather be there with. Well, maybe Zac Efron, but we'll work that out. And then, how have we not called this podcast Mandyland? Like, how did
I know.
That's
I know.
Just, what?
Look, let's rebrand. I probably brought it up at some point. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
It's If I could give myself advice from 3 years ago, I would have said, name the podcast Mandyland.
Right.
It does sound fun.
Oh, thank you. I love Madlibs. I love games. And I love you.
And I love you.
I love choosing the next thing we're going to listen to.
Oh, yeah. What's that? I'm sweltering right now. Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to Tara Sands, who suggested this.
Oh, Tara. Hi, Tara.
And it is a podcast with I think the best title ever, aside from the Mandcave. Who Shat on the Floor at My Wedding? Have you heard of this?
Nope, I have not.
Sending you the link.
Okay.
And it sounds very funny and light and interesting.
Great.
So, yeah. So that's
I love a poop in the pants. Story.
Let's listen to as many as we can. I think it's done. I think it's already aired everything. So as many as you can get through so we can find out who shat on the floor at these lovely ladies' wedding.
I'm clearly going to have to skip to the end. But start at the bottom.
I'll
keep them coming next week.
Yeah, so I thought that would be fun.
Sounds good. All right. We're on the case. Mandcave on the case. I love you.
Right. I love you.
See you next week.